What's up, everybody? It is a busy Friday in NBA news. So much going on. We got trade drama surrounding Damian Lillard. Dame time might be over in Portland. And Game 5 of the NBA Finals, a very pivotal one, awaits us. All that to talk about with a special guest that shares part of my name coming up on the NBA Exchange. It was about time I finally got a person on this show who also shares part of my name. We need another Henry on the show. Had to finally happen, and major news broke this morning that rocked NBA Twitter surrounding Damian Lillard. So there was nobody better to bring on the show to talk about it than the person that broke this news. That's Henry Abbott, another Henry, see there, of True Hoop. Henry, thanks for joining me on the NBA Exchange. How you doing, man?
We are Dexter Henry Abbott.
I like that. You're bringing the Henrys together. I like that. Glad you're doing well. Like I said, you rocked the Twitter world this morning. You had a story that broke about Damian Lillard, Portland Trailblazers star point guard, will be set to request a trade in the coming days. What's going on in Portland? Tell everybody what's going on.
I mean, he's been there for 9 years and nothing lasts forever, right? The Blazers are a hot mess in the front office right now. We don't really know what Dame thinks about all that. He's played his cards pretty close to his chest, but he has had like a Nipsey Hussle quote here or there. Chris Haynes has produced some stories that suggest that Dame's kind of feeling like he's had enough. We could talk for as long as you want about what's wrong in Portland. The team is pretty good. Let's be honest. I'm not all down on the Blazers generally. They have a lot of good players. They'll have a decent future no matter what happens. But the love is gone. Right. And this introduction of Chauncey Billups could not have gone worse, especially with this OPB story, Oregon Public Broadcasting, saying that basically the team didn't even contact the alleged victim of his 1997 rape. So now it's like it's just a mess. The team's going to be sold. Every piece is moving, and it doesn't feel like home to Dame anymore, evidently, based on our sources.
Well, that kind of leads me to my next question, because your sources have told you this, but is the situation repairable at all? We've seen this in the NBA, Henry, where once a star requests a trade, it pretty much seems like it could be a done deal. You'll try to stretch it out. We'll try to see what happens. But in any way, with everything that's going on in Portland, is there any way that you see Dame staying in Portland and playing there next season?
I mean, he said he'll show up to work, right? Which is the weakest commitment you can make, right? It's just one step shy of the Anthony Davis, like that's all folks t-shirt, right? So I don't see why you'd want that if you're Portland, right? My understanding is that their governing concern here is the sale price of the team. Keeping Dame was going to be the way to make the sale price as high as it could possibly be for Jody Allen. Now that he's taken this position, or we'll see if it all comes to pass. But if publicly he's disgruntled, and it looks like we're awfully close to that, he's tiptoed up that line already. If that's the case, then I don't think the next billionaire to come down the road will feel like it's making them look better, smarter, cooler, all the things they do for reputation, which is why they spend all this money. I don't think it works if Dame's unhappy. So I think now you're going to be saying, hey, I would consider paying somewhere around $2 billion for this team. But first, let's get a roster that people are excited about, right? Let's make the brand cool again, which is probably going to mean making Dame happy.
Yeah, it's going to be making Dame happy. Well, this is the thing everybody wants to know too, Henry. If you're going to get this trade goes through, and if Dame requests a trade and that actually happens and the Trailblazers agree to trade him, who are the potential suitors out there? Who can realistically put together a package where they can get Damian Lillard on their team?
So the Blazers have done a lot of things wrong, but what they've done right is they have him under contract for 3 more years, and he's very, very good, right? There's probably nobody who's going to move teams this summer who's as good a player as him. So this is, you're going to listen to the offers, right? The reason this is big on Twitter today, I don't think is because people so much care about the Blazers, right? It's because they're dreaming of having Dame on their team, right? This is Knicks fans driving this on Twitter, right? So I think of the players that we understand to be on the block, I think the one with the most future value is probably Ben Simmons, maybe Bradley Beal. But I don't think there's even a third name out there that's in the same category as Dame. So what can you add to Bradley Beal or Ben Simmons to try to tempt the Blazers? The other big question here is, by the way, who are you bargaining with? Like, we're not sure Neil O'Shea's going to have his job very long. So if you're Daryl Morey or do you call Neil O'Shea and make your best offer, or do you just wait and see who's going to be running the team in a week? Because we don't really know right now.
Yeah, everything seems to be up in the air with Portland, like you said, right? Neil O'Shea on the hot seat, how they botched that press conference with Chauncey Billups' introductory press conference. A lot that went on there that just doesn't seem good. It would look like the future for the Blazers, they're in turmoil. What does this mean for the Blazers? We know Dame is done. You said the love is lost, but what does this mean for the Blazers as an organization going forward? And do you think this will even hamper them being able to sell the team?
I mean, you can always sell an NBA team. Like, there's a bunch. That's a question of how many weird billionaires are out there ready to just like try to look cool like Mark Cuban. Like, infinite supply. Right. Infinite supply. So I think there's I'm lying a little bit. The amount the teams cost now, there's not infinite supply, but that's not the limiting factor here, really. The limiting factor is, like, will you get a good price? I think the Blazers are fine. You know, they've let the narrative get away from them here, and the idea is that they're somehow this, like, terrible snake-bitten team. But the fact is, they've been in the playoffs every single year of Dame's career except when he was a rookie. They've been in the Western Conference Finals. They've won, I think, 4 out of Dame's years they've gone past the first round. So maybe 3. My memory's bad. But that's good, right? Most teams get nowhere close to that. And they'll still have C.J. McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic, maybe Norman Powell, Anthony Simons. I think that with a blockbuster trade, they'll be an important team in the West. It just won't be this team. It won't be with Dame. And, you know, Dame is... he's a very special player, probably the best offensive player in the league, one of the best of all time. 55 points on 27 shots in that loss to Denver. Ridiculous. It's just ridiculous how good he is. And a good guy. You know, everybody loves him. He's not a great defender, but he makes up for it, more than makes up for it with his offense. That said, like, I think he's a 31-year-old short guy, which is a difficult, like, you would project a decline. You know, Chris Paul is blowing our minds a little bit with how good you can be when you're older. Right. A couple of players have, but mostly his next 3 years won't be like his last 3 years. And his contract's the biggest in the NBA. So, you know, it's not a dream to have him request a trade, but the Blazers also, you know, if they end up with a 25-year-old Ben Simmons, might actually have a moment in a year from now and Dame's showed an age where they're like, oh, you know, it wasn't the worst thing.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see what they can get for him. And then Chris Haynes, while we were about to come on the show, he put out a story, and Dame's quote is saying, we must be better if we want to win at this level, talking about the Blazers. So the question then arises for me, Henry, is leaving Portland, is this the best move for Dame right now at this time? It would seem so. He's been there so long. He's been so loyal. Now he's trying to win. He wants to win. Is this the best move for him at this time?
I mean, I think sometimes you just need to change the scene, and that's fine. You know, that's human. That's how life is. Are they more likely to win a championship if he makes his way to the Knicks? Like, probably not, right? Like, it's going to be about the same story, I would guess. You know, in a trade, you don't get to decide where you go, right? He still has 3 years under contract. I've had these debates with NBA GMs about, like, how long before your free agency can you use your free agency to get what you want, right? And Anthony Davis kind of broke the record with 18 months. 3 years is unheard of. Like, I don't think his next team will, like, if he said to whoever's going to make a trade, like the Rockets, if Dame said to the Rockets now, I won't re-up there if you trade for me, they're still going to trade for him, right? Like, 3 years is so long. So he's basically saying, let's roll the dice. Let's try to use my agent and my connections to leverage my way to where I want to be so I'll be happier. But will it be the freeway to a title? Like, probably not, right? He'll end up where he ends up.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. See, before I get you out of here, can't just talk about Dame. Got to ask you about Game 5 of the finals coming up tomorrow night. Very interesting. I know you've been all over that. There's a lot of takeaways we can look at Game 4. The Bucks offense, Middleton looked really good. But simply this, what do you like about both teams heading into Game 5, and who do you think will win this Game 5 coming up in the finals?
So before the finals, I was like, the Suns are gonna win. At that point, they'd won. I forget the ridiculous number, but like, what did they win? They won like 8 out of 10 and whatever. The Suns have had moments of just beautiful team basketball that you just don't see in the playoffs, where they just roll people. But there's this one little thing, which is Jrue Holiday's offense has been absolutely terrible, and he only has to return to like normal Jrue Holiday, and then I think the Bucks are the favorites, right? If he can just be regular Jrue Holiday, like hit an open shot now and again, Jrue Holiday is all the Bucks need to win this. So this is the bet. It's like, do you like the Suns' home court advantage and their sort of beautiful? I mean, come on, when Cam Johnson catches a pass, whatever, like it's beautiful. I love it. I'm very excited. This is what win. This is great. Alley-oops for the win, like every time. This is why I like basketball. This is freaking great. But if you just can't leave Jrue open all night, then I think the Bucks are going to win. So I guess I'll stick with my Suns thing. But as I just talked about on our show, Bring It In, Drew's probably going to play better, right? He's not probably permanently scarred by his bad shooting in a few games.
Yeah, we think that they would play better, but who knows? Anything could happen in Game 5. We know how important these Game 5s are, Henry. Henry, I know you got a lot of people to talk to today. It's going to be a very busy day. I thank you for taking the time to come on and talk to me a little bit about Dame and the finals. Check out Henry's work on True Hoop. Great site for all the basketball fans out there. Henry, thank you for joining the NBA Exchange. We appreciate you, man.
It was too long. I'm sorry it took me this long to get here, but thank you for having me. It was fun.